Hello and welcome to the Joe Ligato Show. I'm your host, Dr. Joe Ligato, and today we're going to be discussing what is the Shia response to the Palestinian genocide that is ongoing in the Middle East, in the Holy Land. And we see here, we're starting off with a tweet from Jackson Hinkle discussing how Yemen has announced they're at war with Israel. And so I am calling it Yemen because there are really two governments that are in a civil war in Yemen, and the primarily internationally recognized government is in exile, while the Houthi rebels controls, I believe it's 85% of the population. And so by all actual metrics on the ground, it is the Houthis which have declared war that are in control of the country. And so I think it's legitimate to call it Yemen, saying they've declared war on Israel. We see here, and so Yemen is a Shia power, that we're also seeing Yemen firing ballistic missiles. And so we have reached the final stages of a regional war. I would say it's actually the beginning stages, so I disagree with the Iran observer here. Israel is at the moment discussing a response to Yemeni ballistic missiles and drone attacks, which unfortunately, part of that response is Saudi Arabia actually getting a missile defense system in order to protect Israel, which not what you want from the country that is in control of the two holiest sites in Islam in order to be protecting Israel, which is damaging, destroying the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is the site of the third holiest place in Islam. But anyways, if Yemen is targeted by Israel, Yemen possesses the capability to target Israeli interests along its southern coast, the Gulf of Aden, and the Red Sea. As such, Israeli military and naval bases in neighboring countries such as Eritrea and Djibouti, given the anti-Israeli objectives of the Yemeni armed forces attacks, Saudi Arabia cannot remain neutral if American forces were to launch a possible attack on Yemen, because Yemen will target U.S. assets in Saudi Arabia. So that's an unfortunate reality of, if you have American bases in your country, that they can be targets if a country comes into conflict with the United States. Other players will not sit idle by if the United States starts striking Yemen. So Hezbollah will get involved, which means Lebanon's involved. Syria will be involved. Iran will be involved. If Iran's involved and if Syria's involved, then Russia's probably going to be involved. If Russia's involved, China's involved. So you have those webs of alliances that got us into World War I and II. Those can be very easily activated for what I'm starting to call World War III. Next, we have another comment from a Shia group. This is Sheikh Akram al-Kabi, Secretary General of Iraq's Al-Najaba movement. The Iraqi Islamic resistance decided to liberate Iraq militarily. This matter has been settled. Blessed be the Mujahideen. There will be no stopping, no ceasefire, no retreat. So this militia group, this movement within Iraq, is looking to attack U.S. military bases, and U.S. does not have the foothold it did prior have in Iraq. So if things like supply chains, logistics are cut off, the U.S. military bases are going to be in deep trouble. United States is just spread too thin throughout the world while it is a declining power. Next, we have what is going on with Hezbollah, which is a strong Shia militia group, militant group, whatever you want to call it, within Lebanon. And they've also fought in the Syrian war. Oddly enough, they fought against Hamas in the Syrian war because Hamas was trying to overthrow the Syrian government. But anyways, here is what is considered to be Hezbollah's game plan. Everyone who has been following the war since the 7th of October knows that all parties involved are anxiously awaiting the next move from resistance axis factions. First and foremost, Hezbollah. Hezbollah, who pushed Israel out of Lebanon in the 80s and defended the South against another attempted occupation in 2006, is a far more potent and capable enemy to the Israeli military than Hamas or the Palestinian Islamic Jihad will ever be, PIJ. Since the beginning of the war, unofficial statements and media reports have been circulating, claiming that an Israeli ground invasion of Gaza would be considered as a red line for Hezbollah. Despite these statements being unofficial, many of you have wondered, when will Hezbollah really get involved? Since October 8th, Hezbollah has attacked IDF positions across the Lebanese border every single day, with no exceptions. Approximately 50 martyrs have been announced, and we can only wonder about the number of Israeli casualties. Besides the deaths, many IDF vehicles and tanks have been destroyed. Okay, so they've been really going at it. Maybe not boots on the ground for the most part yet, but they have been attacking. And really, Israel is in a tough spot because they said a ground invasion is necessary to completely destroy Hamas. But as soon as that ground invasion happens, if it does happen, which I I feel like they have to have it happen, but I think it's going to be such a disaster that they can't do it. So we'll see exactly what happens. It seems like they're tepidly going in and coming out, and they're just like doing these little attacks and then retreating type of thing. But if they ever do get heavily involved in Gaza, Hezbollah is going to attack with ground troops from the north, it seems like. However, there are clues that something else is being prepared for, something bigger, something unprecedented. Each day for the past 24 days, Hezbollah has, I've talked about this in another video as well. Hezbollah has consistently and successfully been targeting Israeli surveillance and observation equipment on the Lebanese border. Okay, so they want to make sure that if they do wage an attack, it's going to be a surprise attack because Israel's not going to have the equipment it needs in order to communicate and in order to surveil the situation. Dozens of radar stations, night vision cameras, infrared sensors, long-range communication towers, telescopes, and antennas have all been destroyed by the Lebanese group during the past few weeks. This is a really interesting and strategic move from them. These operations, which disabled most of the IDF's observation network, have practically blinded the Israelis in the north, especially in Metula and the surrounding settlements. One can only start to wonder why Hezbollah would have put so much effort on this modus operandi, instead of just opting for killing soldiers or destroying tanks. Now that the IDF has committed most of its forces to urban combat operations in Gaza, a unique opportunity is opening up in the north, one that might shape the future of the region. Hezbollah knows this and has been waiting for this moment for 17 years. The north is now a total blind spot, and based on the available information, it's very possible that the main event is yet to come. All we can do is wait for Nasrallah's speech on Friday, but there might be some surprises in store. All the signs are there. Okay, so this video might come out before, or might come out after Friday, which is very unfortunate, but let's do some speculation on what could be happening on Friday. And here is the main speculation about the speech that is going to occur on Friday. I believe it's 3 p.m. Lebanon time that it's going to occur, though don't quote me on that. But here we have a tweet that Hezbollah might announce on Friday that it's joining the war. So Yemen already said that they're joining the war. If Hezbollah joins the war, I feel like the Sunni powers are going to be really shamed to the point of they're going to have to join the war, even if they don't want to, because their entire population wants to help Palestine. So we will see, but this is the post. So according to Vorpost, Hezbollah and Iran have threatened that if the war does not end by dawn on Friday, the axis of resistance will be the side that directly intervenes in the war, as well as Hezbollah. Okay, so remember, Hezbollah has been taking out all the communication and surveillance equipment on the border of northern Israel. So they're really prepared for a surprise attack. I have not been able to confirm this news beyond Vorpost and one other source. However, this is not enough to consider this news as verified. Right, I agree. If true, this is a very serious red line that will turn the war into a regional conflict. The axis of resistance includes Lebanon's Hezbollah, which is the most powerful, Hamas, Yemen's Houthis already declared war on Israel, Syria. Syria is pretty much already at war because Israel has been bombing their airports, their civilian airports. Again, more war crimes. Iraqi Shia militias have declared war as well. If this news is true, this would be the most concerning development since October 7th. We continue to work on verifying this information. We'll update accordingly. Note Hezbollah released a teaser today in anticipation of their leader's speech on Friday. So, yeah, Lebanon already fighting Israel, not ground troops so far yet. Hamas already fighting Israel. Houthis, which is essentially the government in Yemen, have already declared war. Syria has been bombed, so they're pretty much at war. They just don't have the military assets to really help out. Iraqi Shia's militias are already involved in the war too. So really, they're just waiting for the explicit information from Hezbollah that they are actively getting involved in the war. And then we might see some of those dominoes start to fall. I really want another country, aside from Yemen, to really get involved here, because since the current Yemeni government isn't the internationally recognized government, it's not the domino that I was hoping for, maybe. So we'll see. I think it's Turkey that we really have to rely on here to stop the Palestinian genocide, but we will see what happens there. So anyways, that is my video on what the Sunnis, or what the Shias are doing. We have another video on what the Sunni world is doing in order to fight or not fight Israel in order to protect Palestine. We can clearly see that if you had to say one denomination of Islam is defender of the faith, it would be the Shias at this point. I know the Sunni population really wants to defend Islam and really wants to defend Palestine, but we just haven't seen that from the leaders of these Sunni Muslim countries of the world. So we will stay tuned to see what happens in all of these different regards. There's so much going on, so many moving parts. just stay tuned for all of it. Please subscribe to our channel on YouTube and Rumble to hear the latest ongoings of what's going on. I really filter all this information. I provide my own commentary to it, so you can get a holistic picture of what's going on in this war between Western hegemony and the multipolar bloc, or if you want to call it the Zionist versus anti-Zionist factions. Anyways, please give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channels on YouTube and Rumble. Please leave us a comment box below. Questions, comments, concerns. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.